Welcome to this month's Good News episode where we take a look at what's gone right over the last month. But before we start, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who left lovely comments on the last video that I co-hosted with my younger brother Jack. It meant so much to me and my family reading over the comments, and we even managed to raise around $2,000 for the National Autistic Society, which is absolutely huge and wouldn't have been possible without you. That can hopefully go a small way to supporting individuals with autism. And if you're new here, I'm Sam and I make videos showcasing good news and solutions to some of the world's biggest problems. If you've been here before, it's lovely to have you back, and if you're enjoying these roundups, tap that like button to help spread some goodness and help prevent social media bombarding us with constant doom and gloom. So let's get into it. Here's some good news from May that you might have missed. In a powerful blend of art and activism, a herd of life-size animal puppets has begun a 20,000-kilometre journey from the Congo River to the Arctic Circle, symbolising the mass migrations forced by climate change. The project, called The Herds, kicked off in Kinshasa on April the 9th and will stampede across cities in Africa and Europe, featuring handcrafted puppets of animals like elephants, lions and polar bears. As the journey continues, new species join the herd, like vervet monkeys in Nigeria and reindeer in Norway, adapting just like wildlife must in the real world. At each stop, the public can take part in art workshops, climate discussions and community events, all coordinated by the Walk Productions, the team behind Little Amal. With partners like WWF Save the Elephants and TED Countdown, The Herds turns climate storytelling into a moving, unforgettable spectacle and brings the climate crisis to the streets in a way that's impossible to ignore. If you want to follow the journeys of the Herds, you can find them on Instagram here. And in other herd-related news, after being wiped out nearly 3,000 years ago, a herd of elk could be returning to the UK after similar successes in other reintroduction projects. This next story takes us to South Korea. Researchers at Seoul National University and Gachon University in South Korea have developed a liquid robot that can get into super small spaces and could one day target and destroy cancer cells. They call it PB, short for Particle Armored Liquid Robot. Don't ask me how that acronym works. And it's made of liquid wrapped in water-repelling armor-like particles, kind of like water beads up on a lotus leaf. This coating gives the liquid droplet superpowers. It can change shape, move around obstacles, merge with others like it, and even scoop up materials as it rolls. The concept is that it could one day encapsulate harmful cells like cancer and either deliver targeted drugs to destroy them or physically isolate and remove them. In the lab, it's shown the ability to engulf materials, kind of like how white blood cells swallow bacteria. What's wild is that they can control its movement using sound waves, and in future versions, they might even steer it with magnets or electric fields. Scientists believe it could be the future of targeted drug delivery or non-invasive cancer treatment. While it's early days and the current version isn't human safe yet, they're already working on eco-friendly body-safe materials to take it one step closer to real-world use. Next up, we head to New Caledonia. New Caledonia has just made history by banning seabed mining across all of its ocean territory for the next 50 years, an area of ocean roughly the size of Egypt. This French Pacific territory is considered a global biodiversity hotspot, home to nearly a third of the world's remaining pristine coral reefs and over 9,000 marine species, many of which are found nowhere else on Earth. The decision follows growing pressure from scientists, indigenous leaders, and environmental groups concerned about the irreversible damage caused by mining the deep sea for nickel, cobalt, and other metals. Seabed mining stirs up plumes of toxic sediment, disrupts ancient ecosystems, and threatens species that science is only just beginning to understand. The move also echoes concerns raised about other destructive ocean practices like bottom trawling, which can cause massive economic impact. According to a study by National Geographic Pristine Seas, bottom trawling inflicts a net cost of up to 11 billion euros per year on European society due to its massive ecological damage and the loss of critical ocean services. New Caledonia's long-term ban sends a clear message that protecting ocean health matters more than just short-term profits. And in another win for our waters that shows what happens when we centre the environment and not short-term profits, after 50 years, native trout have returned to historic levels in Lake Huron, one of the largest lakes in the US. This next story is about a trend that's been sweeping nations around the world this month. A new gardening craze is gaining in popularity that's called meadowscaping, and it's turning ordinary lawns into buzzing, blooming ecosystems. For decades, the perfectly manicured lawn has been the go-to garden look, and an incredibly boring one at that. In inspired by English estates and kept alive by a lot of mowing, a lot of water, and a lot of time on weekends that could be better spent literally doing anything else. But now people are finally waking up to the benefits of having mini meadows instead. Compared to lawns, meadows are cheaper to maintain, up to 7 times cheaper in fact. They require less water and help actively pull carbon from the air. More importantly, they support pollinators and native wildlife, turning gardens into homes for important little local critters. Some councils and governments are even starting to get behind the idea too. In Pennsylvania, the state's Department of Natural Resources launched a lawn conservation program in 2020 that actually helps fund these transformations, and now they can't keep up with the demand. I asked my friend Andrew the arborist what people could do if they wanted to do this for their own space.
Yeah, Sam, that's a great question. I think folks can always go the professional route and hire a native plant landscaper to come in and maybe transform their front yard into a native meadow, but that's going to cost a lot of money, and I think the more fulfilling and the more satisfying way is to do it yourself and to get involved in your own restoration of your own land. Important thing here is to try and learn about your local ecology, either by going out and visiting natural areas. Local native plant nurseries and local public gardens are great resources for learning more about native plants in your area. So if you have those nearby, it's always worth a visit, and there's super knowledgeable folks there on staff that are probably willing to help you. Start small, don't be afraid to make mistakes, and always try to learn, always do your best to learn about your local ecology and native plants. And good luck. It is a fun and fulfilling process, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it.
And it wasn't just the meadowscaping movement that shows how powerful local greening efforts can be, as communities in South Africa showed. The Killarney Riviera Community Garden in South Africa have transformed public spaces into vibrant food gardens that support people in need. And now they're going one step further and launching a community seed library to help beginner gardeners grow their own food. It's a beautiful example of how rethinking our relationship with land, whether through wildflowers or vegetables, can create healthier ecosystems, stronger communities, and more resilient futures. Whilst many amazing people around the world are working hard to restore and bring life back to our planet, sadly there are people who played and continue to play a big part in destroying it. But this next story could be a game changer in holding those people accountable. A groundbreaking study from Dartmouth College has put a price tag on the climate damage caused by the world's biggest carbon polluters, and it could be the game changer we need to finally hold them accountable. The researchers estimated that 111 companies are responsible for a staggering $28 trillion in heat-related climate damage, with over half of that total linked to just 10 fossil fuel giants, including Saudi Aramco, Chevron, ExxonMobil, and BP. To figure this out, the scientists ran over 1,000 computer simulations, imagining a world where each company's emissions didn't exist. It found that Chevron's pollution alone has raised the planet's temperature by 0.025 degrees Celsius. On a bigger scale, they found that every 1% of global greenhouse gas emissions since 1990 has caused about $502 billion in heat-related damages, and that doesn't even include the costs of floods, droughts, or hurricanes, just the economic hit from rising temperatures. What makes this study a game changer is how it cuts through decades of denial. Fossil fuel companies have long claimed that you can't pin specific climate disasters on their emissions, but this research proves otherwise. As co-author Justin Mankin put it, the veil of plausible deniability no longer holds up scientifically. By directly linking emissions to economic harm, it gives governments, courts, and communities a powerful tool to demand accountability, and it could be a huge turning point for policies like the Climate Superfund Act in Vermont, which aims to make polluters pay for the damage they've caused. And over in Florida, we're already seeing what that type of accountability can lead to. In Florida, a federal judge ruled last month that the state must take stronger action to protect manatees after years of pollution have damaged their habitat. The Indian River Lagoon, one of the most biodiverse estuaries in North America, suffered massive seagrass loss due to wastewater pollution, leading to the deaths of nearly 2,000 manatees over just 2 years. But thanks to legal action brought by conservation groups under the Endangered Species Act, the state is now required to implement a clear plan to clean up the waters and secure stronger protections going forward, helping these majestic beasts thrive once again. In other good news for coasts around Europe, in the latest EU coastline macro litter trend report, it found that between 2015 and 2021, total beach litter fell by nearly 30%, with the biggest reductions seen in single-use plastic items dropping by 40%. And on the subject of things dropping, this is a mid-video reminder to drop a like and subscribe down below if you're enjoying this video so far. When people ask me what keeps me hopeful, one of the things I always say is all the ideas coming from the next generations, and this next story is about a couple of those individuals. Two young scientists from Slovakia and Czech Republic won the Earth Prize 2025 for developing a pioneering water purification system that's tackling one of the world's most urgent but overlooked issues. 18-year-old Thomas and 19-year-old Anna created Pura to combat antibiotic pollution, a growing threat projected to cause 10 million deaths a year by 2050. Their system uses a never-before-seen combo of light and cold plasma to remove harmful pollutants and antibiotic-resistant bacteria from water. Backed by prize funding and global recognition, they're now working on a next-gen prototype to scale up their impact and bring this powerful zero-waste solution closer to real-world application. Talking of combating pollution, disposable batteries contribute to toxic waste and fill e-waste. Why can't I say e-waste? And fill e-waste landfills around the world. But over in Switzerland, they may have come up with a solution. Swiss scientists have created batteries made of fungi that digest itself after use, leaving no toxic waste. These new fungal batteries use yeast and white rock fungus to generate electricity from sugar and water, and once they've done their job, they safely return to nature. Developed by EMPA in Switzerland, the batteries are 3D printed using a special cellulose-based ink that keeps the fungi alive and allows the structure to biodegrade when it's no longer needed. They're ideal for powering low-energy devices like temperature sensors in remote areas where collecting dead batteries is difficult and often polluting. While they're not ready to charge your phone just yet, these living batteries are part of a growing shift towards tech that supports the planet, not damages it. And before we leave Switzerland, this month the Swiss also started testing out a new way to use solar panels. Over in Switzerland, they're turning train tracks into solar farms as the country pilots its first solar power plant on active railway tracks. The project, led by solar startup Sunways, is using the unused space between train rails to install solar panels without disrupting train traffic. After getting the green light from the Federal Office of Transport, 48 panels are being laid across 100 metres of track in Neuchâtel, with the potential to generate 16,000 kilowatt hours of electricity a year. The panels can help power everything from rail infrastructure to the trains themselves, and thanks to removable designs and built-in cleaning systems, they won't interfere with rail maintenance. If the pilot proves successful, it could scale up quickly, potentially covering railways across Switzerland and supplying up to 2% of the country's electricity needs. It's a brilliant example of using overlooked spaces to meet growing energy demands, all while preserving natural landscapes. And it wasn't just Switzerland choosing to use more renewables. I'm sorry, I had to. Over in England this month, it was announced that solar panels are to be fitted on all new build homes by 2027. And in March this year, for the first time in US history, fossil fuels supplied less than half the United States' electricity generation for an entire month, according to new data released by energy think tank Ember. Before the last couple of stories, I just want to say a big thank you to my Patreon and YouTube members community for helping me make these videos. And for the price of a cup of coffee each month, you can help me make more, get access to exclusive content, and get your names in the video too. To support, just type this URL in or tap the link below to join the club. And if it's easier, I've also just set up YouTube membership so you can become a supporter over here just by clicking that join button down below, and you get all the same perks as a Patreon. If you're still here watching this video, this next story is probably about you. A new report released on Earth Day has revealed that 89% of people globally want stronger action on climate change. But here's the twist. Most of them think they're in the minority. This global perception gap is huge. Nearly 70% of people are willing to give 1% of their income to help fight climate change. But when asked how many others they think would do the same, they guess just 43%. And in some countries, the reality and the perception were off by up to 40 percentage points. This widespread misbelief is fueling what researchers call a spiral of silence. People care deeply, but they're staying silent, assuming others don't feel the same. And that silence makes the majority feel isolated, which slows down momentum for real change. That's where efforts like the 89% Project come in, part of a growing wave of initiatives working to spotlight the silent climate majority and correct the false perception that only a few people care. Experts say that this could be a game changer. When people know they're not alone, they speak up, take action, and demand more from their leaders. In other words, This isn't just a feel-good stat, it's a massive opportunity to unlock a global climate tipping point. And talking of climate action, for this last story, I want to shout out an amazing woman fighting for our planet down in Peru. In the Peruvian Amazon, Indigenous leader Mariluz Canaquili Muriari has been honoured with the Goldman Environmental Prize in recognition of her work spending decades defending her people's land from oil pollution and exploitation. As president of the Cucamonga Women's Federation, she helped secure legal protections for over 100,000 hectares of rainforest, and for the first time in Peru's history, a river was granted legal personhood, granting it the same rights to exist as a human, along with the right to be free-flowing and free of contamination. That's a wrap. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, tap that like button and also comment down below where I should look for good news stories next month. I'll see you the same place, same time next month, my friend. Bye!